Okay, so today I'm going to go ahead and do a tutorial on the SSHFS Windows extension. So what the SSHFS Windows extension allows you to do is it allows you to use the SSH protocol on Windows to map a network-based file system using SSHFS. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first thing I want to do is open up your internet browser and type in SSHFS-WIN Git. The first link you should see is this one from GitHub. Click this. What you're going to do is scroll down and you want to control click the first stable download link right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down and click on the latest stable download link, control click it, and then control click WinFSP. Now WinFSP is a dependency of SSHFS-WIN, and you're going to need WinFSP to actually use SSHFS extension for Windows. So let's go ahead and first scroll down here on the WinFSP tab. Go ahead and click the latest stable, then download the latest stable. And then you're going to go back to the other tab that you control clicked opened for SSHFS-WIN, and you're going to want to go ahead and click on the x64 MSI installer package. Now let's go ahead and run these two installer packages. First one, WinFSP. Click it. Next. You're just going to need core right now. Next, install. Finish. Now go ahead and click on your SSHFS-WIN package. Next, install. This is going to be a lot easier than you guys thought it would be, trust me. So now that we got both of the packages installed, you're pretty much ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and show you all how to do a quick network drive map. So go ahead and hold down the Windows key and hit E to open up your Explorer window. Now there's two ways to do this. The temporary way is to use the address bar, but this does not ensure a permanent network drive map connection, and the permanent way is to actually use a map network drive using the map network drive tutorial. So you're going to want to go ahead and go to the map network drive wizard and click map network drive. Now there's a few things you're going to want to know here. So first what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and type in / SSHFS. Now, one of the things I was telling you that you need to know is when you do the / SSHFS, this is not actually part of the network file system location. What this is right here is this is telling Windows to use that SSHFS extension. And now you're going to give it a subcommand by typing in another switch after it, which could be a .r or a .kr. Now, let me go ahead and explain what this does. What the R does is whenever you're logging into like a Linux-based server or OpenBSD server, whatever you're logging into, when you type in the .r, you're telling it to go to the root file system directory, which would be the /, which should be the lowest level directory that user has access to on that server, which would be / in my case. Without this switch, what happens is it's going to drop you into the home folder of the user you're using to log in at. So if you're logging in as user to a Linux box, it's going to be going to, well, for most Linux distros, it's going to be going to /home and then /user. What the R switch, like I was saying, does is goes to the very lowest level directory that user has permissions for. So I'm going to be using a root account to log in, which, depending on your situation, isn't always the smartest idea for security reasons, but a lot of times you are going to need root level access. So I'm going to be doing the .r switch right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in the server that I'm going to be logging into. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my work server at work. So I'm going to be using the root account. So I'm going to type in root and then at project110.net. And then when I hit finish here, it's going to go ahead and ask me for username and password. It didn't that time because I already had the credentials saved in my credential manager. So it just went and dropped me into the directory instantaneously. Now, As you can see, it's pretty dang responsive. Now, I've been using this extension for Windows for a little bit, and I've been testing it, and it's really good, guys. It doesn't lag a lot. It pulls up the directories quite fast, and it's pretty much instantaneous into what you think, especially when you're compared to an SMB protocol over the internet. This thing's flying, and it works really good. Now, well, when I say I should be saying the older SMB protocols. The newer SMB, like SMB3 and version 4, they probably work a lot better. But as you can see, it's quite fast. Um, and this is only coming from a server that's on 1 megabyte a second upload speed. So as you can see, it's going pretty quick. Now, that's using password authentication method. The most secure way would actually be to use a key. So in order to do that, let me show you all really quick on how to go ahead and add a public key for the SSHFS-WIN extension. So you're going to want to go ahead and go to your C drive and then your users folder and the current user you're logged in as. So for me, it would be admin. Then you're going to see a folder that says .ssh. You should have this folder after installing the extension and then its dependency. And then you're going to see id rsa.pub. This is your pub key here. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and put this pub key on my server at work. That's in here. Now, obviously, y'all can't see all of it. I'm not going to let y'all see all of it, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Go back to my putty right here and go ahead and open it with nano authorized keys. And I'm going to go ahead and add that key. And paste that key right here. Go ahead and save it. Computer and add it on the server. That way when we log into the server, you'll see it has the public key of this computer and it will accept it through SSHFS. Now let's go ahead and map the network drive for the SSHFS-WIN extension using the public key file. As you can see, we're in already. It didn't ask for a password. And as you can see, my credential manager has no password authentication for that server. It's just using the public key file that's in that folder I showed you all before. So that's the most secure way of logging in. You always want to use the key file method for doing your authentication. It's a lot more secure than just doing regular password auth. And then when you do it that way, it's also recommended to go ahead and disable password authentication. That way you won't even be able to log into the server via SSH using a password. You'll have to be using the key file. Okay, so now that I gave you all a quick tutorial on that, I'm going to go ahead and give you all a quick overview of their documentation and what else y'all can do with this program. So if you look over here, this explains the switches I was talking about. It shows the R, it keeps it from dropping down into the home directory of the user you're logging into. Instead, it goes to the lowest root level directory. Then you have the K, which is to use the key file. What I'd recommend and the most secure way of doing this would be to use the KR and then to disable the password authentication. Now, you can also specify a port. And to specify a port, I'll give you a quick example because it's sometimes on this documentation, whenever you see these brackets here. Now, whenever you're typing in the map network drive area, you don't use the brackets. You're just going to use this exclamation point. So, if I was going to be specifying a port, I'd do an exclamation point and I'd say port 8002. Now, whenever you're doing this, it'd be best to use a key file and actually change your default SSH port, because there's a lot of scripts that are made to automatically target that port 22, because that's the common port for SSH. So as soon as you change that port, you need to gate most of the brute force attacks and any of the packet sniffing that's going on. So that's what I'd recommend doing if you want to do this the most secure way possible. You're going to want to use the key-based authentication, disable your password authentication. You're going to want to be using a randomized port. That'd be the very best way to do it. So also, this extension gets a little more advanced. You can also use some of the fuse and SSH capabilities, but in order to do that, instead of using the map network drive wizard, you're going to go ahead and have to actually run the SSHFS.exe executable that's in the folder of that extension you installed for Windows. And it pretty much goes on to show you how you can do it. That way you can do a -O and pass like your follow symlinks arguments. So yeah, that's pretty much the overview of the extension, guys. I mean, I love it. It's great, especially whenever you're connecting to Linux-based servers, especially at a root level, and you want to do it extremely securely. This is the way to go if you're using Windows. So I definitely recommend this. This is what I use. It's hands down, I think it's the best. I've been using it for a while. It's like rock solid. Haven't had any problems with it. It's great.